Hello, welcome to our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. Boy, don't you wish you were sitting on a ski slope in a log cabin with a cup of Simply Clean Food coffee in your hand with IMMUSIST in it, knowing you don't have to worry about the big A or the big C anymore because you put IMMUSIST in it. All available at simplycleanfoods.net or go to immusist.com. It's so easy. I just put a whole squirt in here. Golly, it makes me feel good. You know, and my wife went down to visit her friend that she's known for 45 years who's had blackout spells, white spots on the brain, and can't function. She's so sick. This blew my mind. 3 days later, after using 50 drops of IMMUSIST a day, she can go back to work. She feels fabulous. We had a friend have a stroke. We gave her 50 drops a day. She couldn't speak or walk. Within a month, she's up driving. Everything's normal. But anyway, this made her feel so good. The brain fog disappeared. The pain in her body went away. The headaches, the migraines went away, which are related to the white spots in the brain. The migraines went away. She doesn't have to take any painkillers, and she's back at work. Now, of course, we added the sea vegetables. That's a given. That's a base for all food, because any medication you're on will screw you up unless you use sea vegetables. But anyway, so she's feeling fabulous, warm all over. She's back to work. She's back to her old normal self. I love this IMMUSIST. We kind of tasted all the formulas when they were creating it, and I think she made it really thick, and she says, no, if I make it any thinner, I'm cheating the customer. But anyway, she doesn't want to cheat anybody. And when you call her, you talk to her. You don't talk to somebody in Thailand or Africa or the Philippines. You actually talk to her. So same with Simply Clean Foods. You talk to a real person. Anyway, so we'll have the link for IMMUSIST. By the way, Simply Clean Foods carries IMMUSIST as well. And if you use Mount, you get quite a discount. Anyway, we'll have the link below. On to the news. Went out with my sister yesterday to Katy Downs. We went out to Red Lobster the other day. And they have cheap appetizers. I love their food. Anyway, so she told me the #1 story on her mind. And by God, I think a woman has a right to speak on the internet. And she said the #1 story on her mind was Hulk Hogan died. He had knee replacement, 10 back surgeries. He married a Scientologist, got sick and died. You want to worship Lucifer? You know, it's like the truth said to the politician. The truth said to the politician. He said, I'll see you around the backside of Boot Hill in 100 years. In other words, you got to face God for your actions. And if all you're thinking about is me, you ain't getting into heaven, buddy. Anyway, a note for President Trump, who came back from the G7 summit. Shorter, bruised hands. Maybe he beat somebody up and swollen ankles. Maybe he danced on somebody's face. I don't know. We can only hope. Anyway, he comes back. A note for President Trump. The White House call line and the White House text line is about as responsive as hemorrhoids are to baking soda. So, picture that on your rear. Baking soda, no reaction. That's the White House. But President Trump, if you were to make up a redacted Epstein list and put all your enemies on that redacted Epstein list and left all your buddies, I don't care, rapey children, whatever, put all your enemies on there, Adam Schiff, Chucky Schumer, Maxine Waters, all these, Nancy Pelosi who died and they put in a double, all the enemies on the list, all the news reporters who hate you on ABC, NBC, PMS, NBC, CBS, PBS, NPR, if you were to put all your enemies on that list, you would just absolutely destroy the media and come out like a wiener. That is, if you can get this by Betty Boop, your chief of staff, Susie Wiles. I call her Betty Boop because she acts. She's just playing 3 bricks shy of a full load. Oh, she's smart, but she's still 3 bricks shy of a full load. Anyway, fear not. Trump may no longer have to negotiate with Epstein, who's wearing it. I threw this picture away a dozen times, but here it is again. So God must want me to show it to you. His zipper's down. He's meeting with a cocaine addict. He's got this really stupid look on his face. CIA, you did a real bad thing when you appointed him as president of Ukraine. You were really stupid. Because this guy's walking around with his pants on backwards and his zipper open. But Trump may not have to negotiate with him very long, because Thailand and Cambodia are going to suck up the arms deals. All Thailand has is 70-year-old tanks. M48, the old Patton, my favorite tank. The M48 tank. And they've got some F-16s, which were flown 70 years ago, I think. 75 years ago. I like the F-15 better, but it's faster, more maneuverable, but the F-16 is what the United States sold around the world. So Thailand has 70-year-old jets and tanks built in 1955. Jets built, 55 to 70-year-old, and the F-16 was built in, well, I'm sorry, it's only 50 years old. The tanks are 70 years old. But anyway, Cambodia, these are the guys who hide in the tunnels and shoot you with 200-year-old rifles, bolt-action rifles. Then go back into the caves. They're all about this tall. You don't want to get involved in that war unless you use ground-penetrating radar. We allowed the war to continue in Vietnam to kill more people and pad the arms industries and look for oil. The whole Pueblo incident was fake. Pearl Harbor was set up by Lord Mount. Lord Mountbatten faxed to the Japanese the battleship locations so they could practice. So for months they practiced it. So the Ukraine war, which has cost us, probably in the neighborhood of $3 trillion, may be circumvented by this new Thailand-Cambodia war. We're going to find out, aren't we? Cambodia, Thailand has a couple of ports. You knock them out, they can't feed their population. But it's not meant to end. It's meant to go on and on and on. And speaking of that, the United States government, they didn't recognize blindness from mustard gas until 40 years after World War I or World War II. They didn't recognize Agent Orange till I walked into Patty Murray's office and said, "Here's the Army herbicide manual. You want a 50-gallon drum? I'll have it delivered tomorrow." And he went, uh-oh. Well, we delivered the nuclear, biological, and chemical reports to the VA during the Gulf War. I saw it. I pulled out the congressional reports. We sent videos to the VA of nuclear, biological, and chemical weapons in over 89 bunkers in Camisea. Thousands of nuclear weapons and biological weapons. We showed the sales receipts. And it's 35 years later. And the VA still won't recognize it. The VA director is a lying piece of human garbage. But I'm not going to go any further than that. The VA wants you dead. And we got to, as we were talking to Chance yesterday, we had to delay the interview again because NOAA, through the Department of Commerce, funded through NASA, is still flooding and killing Americans across the southwestern United States. Trump never pulled that contract. Yesterday, another flood created by NOAA. They admitted it. We showed the contract on the air. But the CIA prevented us from printing it. That website's been taken down. You've all seen the contract. They're still killing Americans. Thank you, NOAA and NASA. Where the friggin' is Trump? And Trump set up a children's helpline, right? Because according to James Dobson, 1987, Focus on the Family, 50,000 children are used for satanic purposes and killed every year. Now it's about 200,000. Since Biden took office, we've lost 800,000 children. That's 200,000 a year. Are gone. Eaten, killed, destroyed, whatever. They're gone. All illegal aliens. And they set up a children's helpline, which was manned by one gal who worked 6 hours a day. Known are 65,000 unanswered calls. It's kind of like a 911 for kids. It was as responsive as the White House text line. President Trump, you need to do this, blah, blah, blah. Just put some baking soda on your hemorrhoids, and that's how responsive the White House is. Anyway, so the VA, unbelievable evil. So out of the 666,000 BBB, Build Back Better, 666,000 troops in the first Gulf War, 200,000 died within the first 2 years, and another 200,000 are dead. So the VA only has to deal with 266,000 with a $150 billion budget to treat 2.5 million Americans, because nobody's going there. Because nobody wants to take their LSD. I don't. So I pay about $1,000 a month for medical and $1,000 a month for dental, because the VA uses the cheapest dental material. They drill a tooth, it falls out. They drill a tooth, it falls out. They drill a tooth, it falls out. They pull it out and get to make a partial. Then they drill another tooth. This is what the director of the VA dental in Tacoma told me. And the next director of the VA dental in Tacoma told me. Why? Because I was an ambassador. I had an embassy. They had the right to tell me. And I'm still a captain in the U.S. military. So we're dealing with some very good dentists who aren't afraid of telling the truth. And the FCC made a statement, and I'll show you how. I will show you how transparently fake the FCC is. Now, the FCC put the FBI into YouTube to censor people and kill people through YouTube. Frequencies. So the FCC, purposely, the director is killing people through YouTube. Murdering Americans. Murdering people around the world. We are the world's #1 terrorist organization in the world. Used to be the Soviet Union. It moved to America. I remember in the People's Park riots, when I went to UC Berkeley, I talked with the prosecuting attorney. They were all paid by the Communist Party to kill and destroy Americans. And then that mantle fell on the CIA to maintain the drug control, i.e. Branch Davidians are dead, etc., etc. So, head of the Federal Communications Commission declared, Americans no longer trust the legacy national news media to report fully, accurately, and fairly. It's time for a change. That's why I welcome Skydance's commitment to make significant changes at the once storied CBS broadcasting network. Well, if you're so dang worried about the truth, why do you keep paying FBI agents to censor YouTube? Because he doesn't care. He is transparently fake. Just like the director of the VA. Just like Trump not pulling the funding to kill more Americans in Arizona, New Mexico, Southern California, and Texas. Because they're still flooding Texas, killing Americans. They're transparently fake. That's why J.D. Vance is looking more presidential every day. But he's been asked to do a few things by God, and he's told God to go suck an egg. So we're going to find out what happens as Trump's ankles swell and his, that happened to the president of the Dominion of Republic, the country I served. And it happened to the Queen of England. Her hand started bruising, her ankle swelled up, and she died. Now, I pray for Trump every day. We all do. That he actually does what he says he's going to do. But like Cicero wrote 2,000 years ago in a book, promise the world everything and do nothing. He came back a changed man from the G7 meeting. By the way, these disappearing children are all over the world. I can take you to 3 Epstein Islands. 3! One of them is in Cabo Fabrosa, which is it's CIA nudist colony. The other's in Sumatra. A tidal wave wiped out the child porn industry in Sumatra about 15 years ago, 10 years ago. Then you've got Epstein Island. Cabo Fabrosa, the country we killed before it started. I went on the air and we killed the country. It was a contract between Castro and one of his murdering mob friends that if he paid him $3 million a year, you can have that island. Well, guess what? He didn't pay him the $3 million. So he owes him about, if you pay $30 million to the ruling party in Cuba, you can have your own country. Anyway, so apparently Paramount Pictures, which promised to support Patch Adams and lied, is now being supported by Oracle, which was built up by your government. The owner of Oracle is the second richest man in the world and has trillions of dollars of U.S. money we pumped into Oracle. Why? For the AI systems, so they can tag you. Now, I brought up a bean and I don't know what I did with it. This bean has no pesticide sprayed on it. If you take a pocket knife and you scrape off the wax that you get on a tomato, you will find a toxic element coming down. Now, this doesn't have it. I grew it. All it has is what they're spraying on us. I hope it rains today because then I won't have a running nose. So whatever they're spraying on us, there's dozens of people I've talked to who are reacting negatively to this spray. Trump has not stopped the chemtrails. So like I say, J.D. Vance is looking more presidential every day. He gave a speech on AI. And I'm telling you what, that guy, President Trump, has nothing to worry about because he may leave this country in the hands of someone more capable than he is. He's a firecracker, but he doesn't do what God says. He does what he wants to do. Oh, in the name of Jesus, there's no J in Hebrew, and Jesus means light, which means Lucifer in French. His name today in Israel is Yeshua HaYeshu. The I am that I am. Yeshua Mashah. That's what they call him in Bethlehem. Yeshua Mashah. Yeshua the Messiah. All these CIA created Jehovah Witnesses. Praise Jesus. His name is Yeshua. Just like the book of John. It's not John. His name is Ian. Those Bibles are Greek and Hebrew. His name is not the book of John. It's the book of Ian. Transparently fake. These Bibles are transparently fake. If you go back to the Greek and Hebrew, it's totally different. Even John 3:16, Ian 3:16 is totally different. Anyway, but that's for you to discover on another day. So this country has become transparently fake, and J.D. Vance is looking more presidential every day. God may give him a chance. I pray for President Trump every day that he gets better and better. But all they keep doing is Obama did this and Obama did that. Well, we all know that Obama's dead and the next Obama was dead and the third Obama was pulled out because he was like this. The fourth Obama, we're on Obama number 6 or 7. A friend walked by the Obama limousine and there were 3 Obamas smoking and joking in there. So that's from the Tums I take because I have to take antibiotics because I still have bullous pemphigoid. Thank you, FBI and CIA, for giving me a weaponized form of impetigo. But there is a consequence if you get involved in spiritual warfare against Satan, against those who are trying to kill President Trump. If you get involved, there will be consequences. So 99% of you will go, I don't want anything to do with God. And maybe 1% of you will say, okay, God, I'll take the lickings. Just remember what Truth said to the politician. In 100 years, I'll see you on the backside of Boot Hill. Anyway, God bless. Thank you very much. We appreciate each and every one of you. And, I thank you for coming. You are my family. And it gives me a warm feeling to talk to you and to let you know how to eliminate diseases in the body. And I think if I didn't have IMMUSIST, I'd probably be dead by now. Because they've shot me, stabbed me, the whole works, the whole gambit. Anyway, God bless. Thank you very much. You are the salt of the earth. That's what I gave up. I gave up living in the mountains to fight for Trump. Well, you got to do what God tells you to do when you're with God, or there's just really bad things happening. We'll see you tomorrow.